Do you, in your work, find forward movement in the conversation on the climate crisis in church world? And if you do, where do you see it?
Sure. I do see forward progress in the church. I see people willing to talk about it. I see grief groups being formed at churches to talk about climate grief. I'm inspired by a couple of church members and pastors who are retiring and kind of retiring with an energy like, I'm not retiring so that I can sit on the beach, even though that's great, right? But I'm retiring so that I can push the church on climate change. I'm not saying that there's like a whole huge movement of that, but a couple people like bringing their whole working energy to the church and the climate crisis is amazing. And I'm so grateful that they are able to do that. That said, the church is not leading this movement. And anybody who thinks that the church is going to lead the climate has the climate crisis work, they have some kind of really outdated sense of the church's importance. Like, no, the church is not leading this. The church could get in line, please. And the church could do some work. So there's one specific role that I think the church needs to have, which is kind of picking up the pieces of the activists who are so burnt out on climate work. Because a lot of climate movement work does not come with the support, the emotional support, the spiritual support, the motivational and also self regulating, self soothing, like community care kind of stuff. The church really needs to come alongside the activists who are working on the climate, not because we have a better voice than they, or not because we can motivate people better than they can. Like when it comes down to it, it's a moral issue, and bringing spirituality into it is fine, but not essential. So the
Yeah.
church is never leading the climate movement, but the church has an important role to just be providing care,
Mm,
like
yeah.
human centered care to the people who are doing this work.
Yeah. Well, and that strikes me as a deeply intersectional approach, right? I mean, if the church offered genuine care and if leaders had the pastoral wherewithal to notice what advocates hold all the time, every day, advocates in racial justice, LGBTQ plus inclusion, welcoming refugees, climate
Yeah.
crisis, all of these things require so much energy, and the burnout rate for folks in the field of advocacy is so very high and so frequent.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also wanna add that the church has some resources
yeah.
that can be used. And I think of, the former Bangor Theological Seminary in Maine, BTS, which is now the BTS Center, and they're working on climate. Like, so they
Mm,
closed this school and pivoted. So there's a lot of churches that are maybe closing or are pivoting or coming smaller, and figuring out what to do with their resources and how to kind of give them away in a meaningful way. And that's really inspiring to me too.
thanks.